This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself. Today we have an older Kenmore or Whirlpool dryer where the motor no longer works. It isn't turning, so we're going to unplug it and replace the motor. And we're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver, undo these two screws by the filter, and then we'll be able to lift up the upper panel by pushing in with a paint scraper in the upper right, upper left hand corner. We can remove a couple of screws at the top and we can pull off the front panel. Here's the motor that we'll be replacing it with. It's a more modern motor and the wiring is a little bit different. It comes with an instruction sheet that shows you how to install the wiring. It's not too hard, and the video is going to cover it too. So we've got the tumbler off, we took the belt off, took the tumbler off. Now we're going to get to the motor using a standard head screwdriver to pry off this spring clip that's on the front of the motor. And we just pried that one off. There's also one on the back that we have to pry off too. Before we did that though, we put a wrench, crescent wrench, on the back area where we see this blue piece of plastic. Behind it is a white piece of plastic, and we put a crescent wrench on that, and then we grabbed the motor pulley in the front and we turned really strong to the right. It's reverse thread, so right is loosening, and we were able to break free the fan behind the motor, but you have to use a lot of force. So now we got the back clip off, the front clip off, and now we're wiggling the motor out from its bracket. That's the old one. And this probably was in there for a good 15 to 20 years. Here comes the new one. We're going to put it into the blower wheel in the back, the motor shaft. The long shaft goes into the blower wheel there in the back. And we're going to be getting this motor braced into position. First thing though, following the instructions, we're removing this blue wire. This is called the jumper wire. We're just going to take it out, get rid of that. We're going to take the blue wire that comes from the dryer and put it onto that overload right there on that spade connector. So we're just following the instructions. And then we do have some other colored wires here. We have this one. It's a red wire. It's going to go on to that first terminal. And we're going to cut out these little connectors that come with the motor. These are little or smaller spade connectors. And we're going to cut the white wire. This is the one that comes out of the dryer. We're going to strip back about 1/4 inch of the insulation. We're going to twist the conductor and then put this little spade connector on there, and then we're going to crimp it using a crimping tool. We're going to squish in so that you have a nice metal contact from the connector onto the wire. We're going to do the same thing with the black wire. So we did that with the white wire and the black wire. The other wires, you don't need to do that. There's just two of the wires that come from the dryer that have to have these smaller spade connectors put on. And again, the motor comes with these two little smaller connectors. So we're twisting, braiding the wire, putting on the smaller connector, and then we're going to crimp it. And then the directions tell you which of the little terminals on the motor to put these on. And we'll be able to see it in the video too. So we're going to crimp it really tight. We've already put on the blue one, we already put on the red one. Now we're going to put on the white one. So it's going to go on one of these smaller terminals. Get it in position and wiggle it on. And in the instructions it actually tells you what number terminal on the black motor switch here that all these things are going into, there's numbers, and you can just correspond the directions to which number. Put the black one on now. And we're left with one more red one that we're going to put on. That's going to go on the very last terminal. We'll see here in a second. It's going to show you on the video. Now we lined up the motor. The wires, if you notice, are down at about the 7 o'clock position now. So we rotated the motor. This is a little ground wire, a green wire we're going to put on right there. Right now we're putting that strap back on. We're going to put it in position and then use a big standard head screwdriver to knock it down and to where it's locked into position. We do the same on the back too. There's another spring clip just like the one on the front. So we'll hook it over, and then we're going to use our standard head screwdriver to push down to lock it into position. Okay, got that. And now we're going to put the crescent wrench back onto that square white plastic, and then we're going to be turning the motor pulley to the left, so lefty-tighty, opposite normal, opposite threads. We're going to use our wrench to tighten that a little bit beyond finger tight. So put our vice grip on there, and we're going to turn to our left to tighten it. Now we're using a Torx 15 bit to take off this screw that's on the motor switch, and we're going to pull it out and then put the green ground wire on that switch, and then put the screw back in and then tighten it, and that gives us a nice ground connection. So now we have all the wires on, and just going to take a look at what those look like when they're all on. So here's a nice view of the wires. You can see the numbers on the front of that black plastic switch, and you can see how the wires correspond to those numbers. And that's it, and then we just go ahead and put the tumbler back on, the belt, put the panels on, and you are done. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.